Welcome to the Hub Podcast. I'm your host, Cheney Passer. With me is Courtney K. Briggs.
Okay, 5.
We
CKB.
have a cool, I don't know if announcement or just a cool thing for us. You got a face mask from a company.
Yes. And that will be, I'll do a full review walkthrough of it on the vlog, the January, February vlog that I will be posting hopefully within the next day. Just kind of talking a little bit more in depth about it, but I just wanted to shout it out on the podcast. I got it from Wander Parlor. I can put that down there, or Cheney will
Yeah.
put that down there.
Yeah.
They have an Instagram, but if you can also connect with their Shopify on their Instagram. So if you just go to their Instagram, you'll be able to find all of the products that I'm talking about, but also it's kind of just like a hub for a lot of really clean, eco-friendly small businesses that she brings in the products and then sells it through her eco shop or her Wonder Parlor. So the one I'm talking about and in my vlog is I've been struggling to find an fruit enzyme mask. And when I was really diving into skincare during, I guess, quarantine stuff, fruit enzymes is something that is really good for exfoliating your skin without getting any scrubs or things like mitts that are going to break your skin down and break the tissue down. The enzymes kind of do that with their own particles rather than getting the abrasion and the rough approach to your skin that's eventually going to just damage it even more. But I have some, because I did not want to miss anything, I'm just going to go down the list of all the awesome things about it. The product is a red, not red. I knew I was going to mess that up. It is an enzyme mask, but is specifically for refining and color correcting and improve your texture and the resurfacing and firming of your skin. So it's kind of a lot in one mask, but I was really searching for it because of the enzyme aspect of it. The company that it is Earth Harbor, and she sells a lot of their products on her website. So it's not even just the refining mask, but they have a bunch of serums, a bunch of different products that are skin based, but they're all like the list that I'm about to go down, like women owned business, sustainable skincare brand. They're all vegan, cruelty free, free of fillers and synthetics. That's one thing that I love about her shop is none of this stuff is like bullshitty clean. I feel like that's something that you see all the time where it's like, oh, this looks like this would be really clean and good products getting put into it and how they're made. And then you actually dive deep into it or look at the ingredient list and it's like, oh no, I just got tricked by the branding again.
Yeah. Looks like we were at the grocery store today and we were looking at yogurts and it says on the ingredients, one of the yogurts, it says organic cornstarch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at the container, you look at, just the branding of the company itself, it kind of promotes itself as a clean company.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to find places like the Wander Parlor that you can actually just go and it's going to be clean because they do all the research for you rather than, oh, well, I don't know. I'm just going to guess, or I don't even know what half these products are. And some of them, the ingredients could be good, but they just have a crazy name.
Yeah.
That someone's actually doing the research for you of looking into the companies, looking into the business itself to see where does their integrity lie with these things that we care about.
Yeah.
Okay. It is a super cool purpley color. I get it. I really get into the semantics of all of that in my vlog, probably too much. But the base is aloe, and it definitely has that gooey texture of aloe, which I kind of like. It is but some of the other ingredients besides aloe is the main one, but pineapple extract, pomegranate, other tropical fruits, and like I said, it is a fruit enzyme mask. So it's using the natural ingredients from the fruit, which are so naturally benefit just to eat or topical like this mask is. It's just kind of doing what nature is supposed to do, and you're just kind of using it for your own personal benefit. And it removes, like I said, as the exfoliator, it removes your dead skin cells naturally rather than you using some sort of abrasive method, which we typically do. And like I said, it's perfect for acne prone skin. So if you want, you can also do it just as a spot treatment rather than an all over mask. Or brightens your skin, dull, oily, for a smoother surface. That's something that I have noticed a lot just using it a few times this week. It really kind of smoothens, like the texture of my skin is what I'm really noticing, which is awesome. So I guess enough about me describing the mask. You should not only try that, but I would definitely look into if masks or skincare is not something you're interested in or something that you focus on. She has a bunch of hair care products. Again, clean products. Hair care. They just launched a new like beard grooming line. Sure. But yeah, like anything from face oils to cleansers to exfoliators to powder shampoo to, and she, like I said, it works with a bunch of different companies that they all have naturally sustainable sourced ingredients, products, packaging, and it's kind of all in one hub, one area. And we get a 15% discount. So if you just use the hub 15, which I'm sure you could also put on the screen, the hub 15, you can get 15% off the Wander Parlor.
Cool. I think along with promoting that, we should promote ours right away at the top too now. The Hub Fitness, our Facebook page, at the Hub_Fitness, our Instagram. We're just posting more and more stuff, food stuff, fun facts, all that type of stuff. So go follow those and like those, and I don't know, keep up to date.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think to start with, your outfit is so silly.
It's beach surfer girl. Chic.
You're really starting.
Chic. It's not chic. It's like here's the setting of my outfit. I'm driving in a Jeep, top down to the beach.
You're jumping, hitting question mark boxes, getting mushrooms, jumping on Goombas, and
gonna stop at the grocery store, but it's like a cool like market, and then I'm gonna go to the beach. That's what this outfit is. What's your outfit?
What are you talking about?
What's your outfit? Describe the scenario of your outfit.
I mean, everyday, casual. This is just what I look like. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
This is what I wear every day.
Okay.
I
feel like you're in a different world than I have been in.
You look
I
like
don't
you're
know
going,
where I've been. If this is your everyday outfit, where am I at every day? Is it the new hair? Do you feel like you got your haircut that you are now in an alternate world, that you somehow think this is what you look like?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've had my hair like this for so long. I've wore these clothes for like years and years and years.
Okay.
You know, this is what I feel comfortable in. I don't know why you have to.
Okay, sure.
This is just what it is.
This is Make Believe Day.
Yeah, and you're going to save Princess Peach from the castle.
What do you mean Princess Peach from the castle? I don't even get that analogy.
Mario. Luigi.
Oh, okay. I could see it.
You look like a plumber.
I could see it. Oh, this is like cool beach girl. This isn't beach girl. This is Malibu beach girl. This is like very specific kind of beach girl.
It's whatever you want it to be.
It's whatever I want it to be. Okay.
I just wish you'd dress up a little bit for this. I mean, this is kind of an important podcast now, and I mean, we have ads in the beginning and that sort of thing. And
I mean, is this going to be a challenge? Because I will take it. I will take it.
There's no challenge.
Next podcast, you better watch out.
There's no challenge.
You better watch out. Okay, sure.
I put a very strong emphasis in looking nice every single day, and you just usually don't put that same amount of emphasis in.
Okay.
We've known this.
You're right.
Everybody watching knows
You're
this.
right. It's a problem that we have. I will work on it.
Yeah.
It will be better.
I would appreciate it because I want this podcast to be high class.
Totally. I agree. To me, I thought the swimsuit top underneath the overalls that I got from the thrift store with the hat, I thought that was high class. I might be wrong. I thought you threw some hoop earrings on to any outfit and you were good to go.
Yeah. I mean, I got this nice clear glass with tea. You've got this big, bulky water bottle sitting in the corner. You just have given up.
Okay, let's get into the topics. But challenge accepted. I will work on it. I will better myself.
It's no challenge. It's just take care of yourself. I'm
You're
starting
right.
to get worried about you.
I know. You keep me on top. Okay. So last episode we had it was about food. It was a lot about food. It wasn't like just a general diet podcast or, we didn't get into, I don't know. We got into specifics, but on maybe different topics than most people talk about when they talk about food.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
And we got a lot of good responses with it. So we want to dive deeper into some questions and a little bit more into our styles of eating and
Sure.
kind of do a food 2.0 with this episode.
Okay.
So none of these questions are in like a specific order. They're just going to be Sam. Let's talk about them.
Okay.
Okay, what are our thoughts on making treats healthier? Example of avocado brownies, protein pancakes, cookies, or like certain like balls or granola bars. Making normal things that we could maybe deem as treats, but doing the healthier alternative to them.
I think the first thing that comes to mind, I get scared of it right away because I think people use that kind of as an excuse in a sense. Like they will kind of, I don't know, they'll just kind of be like, well, this is a healthier version of this, so it's okay. And it's not necessarily the case a lot of the time because you're still using poor ingredients or products for a majority of it, or even if it's just for half of it or something, and you're just happening to throw in a couple good ingredients, that it ends up just kind of being this mystery almost of like, well, I've turned these treats into healthy things now. Why am I still not getting to where I want to be with it or whatever? That I think proceed with caution with that kind of thing because yes, it can be great. But at the same time, like majority of your foods should be whole foods, should be foods that, like your snacks should be apples and almonds and, that sort of thing, fruits and nuts and maybe raw vegetables if you like that. I would try to really limit the like, oh, I made my own, what was it, avocado brownie, or I made my own granola bar, or a lot of the times those you start to take shortcuts just to make those edible too. Sometimes like we've tried to make our own granola bars and it can work, but then at the same time, like I don't really attribute that to eating healthy because now I'm just eating granola bars all the time to where I need a healthy, well-balanced diet.
Well, and that's my initial is I do like it depending on how we are thinking about it. Like you said, like proceed with caution. I think if we are seeing them still as what they are as treats,
yeah,
then that can be okay because hopefully then your approach to eating these items are as a limited time thing. This is not something like you're not going to make protein pancakes every day. You're not going to make the avocado brownies, once a week. These are things that you should do in very limitation and sporadically, that if you're going to then have it anyways, somewhat, like if you're like, I'm really feeling like pancakes and I haven't had them in a long time and this is what I decide I'm going to eat, then there's where the alternative, okay, maybe I'll do half flour, half protein powder. Or with the brownies, instead of doing chocolate brownies, this is my one time I'm going to have it every once in a while. Sure, maybe I'll have the banana brownies or the avocado brownies, or mixing in the healthier ingredients. But like you said, then really diving into, now am I substituting it? Am I putting 5 avocados in a batch to make a brownie? Am I, doing like we've done like banana ice cream before, and now you're putting 3 bananas into like make a little serving. Well, you're still eating 3 bananas.
Yeah.
So I think it's how you approach it. I like it if this is not something I do all the time, but I do want something as a treat, and you go, well, I could still make a healthier version of this, then by all means, I think it's a great alternative. I think it's a good way to keep you on track, but still enjoy things in life. But I think, yeah, where the balance can come in, where the slippery slope happens, this is to me the same thing with like artificial sweeteners is they go, well, there's no sugar in it, or there's, it's just artificial sweeteners, but then you end up having more of those things because you think it's the healthier version.
Yeah.
That making sure that you're still eating them in a limitation, eating them every once in a while, and not just because they're the healthier thing to you. You're not eating them as frequently as you would an apple, or you would, your almonds.
Well, because that's what'll start happening is you start to go to those things then for your maybe in between meal or your snack or whatever, rather than grabbing an apple, grabbing something healthier. So now you've made this thing kind of healthier, but then at the same time, you're replacing it with something that's way better for you anyways. So now you've actually kind of taken a step backwards, rather than doing what you maybe thought was going to happen of, oh, I'm going to get healthier by doing this.
Right. Well, I think a perfect example that we use is like the sourdough bread.
Mm-hmm.
We make our own, you make us sourdough bread.
You help. You're there for moral support. You cheer.
Sure.
And
I've been there through the whole process of it being born and built and bred, literally. But it doesn't mean that we're not still eating bread. It is the healthier alternative if we like to have toast in the morning, if we like to have bread in the house. That is still better than buying it at the store and it's just this process. We don't know how it was made. But at the end of the day, it is still, we're eating bread. We're still eating the carbs. We're still needing to take input of that of, okay, well, that is something I'm consuming in the day. It doesn't mean that I made it. It makes it healthy.
Yeah.
Homemade doesn't mean healthy.
Yeah, not always. I think the protein pancakes or even homemade pancakes is a perfect example because you think, oh, I made it from scratch. I made it at home. This is going to be better for me than just using the box mix or whatever. Or maybe you are putting protein into it, and you're thinking it's making it better, which you're getting more protein. But, at the end of the day, like it's still flour, milk, butter, maybe some oil. Like it's really not super nutritious ingredients. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the times what comes with that is then you're putting syrup on it or you're putting jelly on it and probably not good jelly. And it can be a slippery slope if you're not paying attention to it. So I think really analyze what you're doing. And I think the last thing for me with this one is like, this is something that makes you 1% better. This isn't going to change your whole diet and make you, this super beast at the gym or, make you look aesthetically exactly how you want to look by doing these little switches. Like what needs to change is you not having the brownies to you eating an apple, that sort of thing. This is just, it's the 1% switch to where you need to do the thing that's going to flip your life 50% or 25%, not the 1%. I think that's what we get caught up in a lot of the time too, is like, it's the new craze or you build up the courage to do it, but it's not doing that much for you. And sometimes it can be doing a bad thing for you.
Mm-hmm. Next one. If you are counting calories for a cut, how long should someone be in a deficit and how should someone find their baseline?
I think to start with the bulk and the cut thing, I think the fitness world needs to get away from it. Like just in general. Okay. I think it's something that's so, again, talking about the 1%, that is for the 1% of people to do, is bulk and cut. It's not to bulk or to cut is not to get you into shape. You don't do these things to get you into shape. You do these things to
look a certain way.
To look a certain way, but also squeeze that last, ounce, 2 ounces of chiseling or size or whatever out of what you're trying to do. It's not to change your aesthetics or how you're going to approach fitness after that. Like this is for a very small group of people. So I think in general, we need to get away from this like running a bulk and running a cut all the time type of thing. Like if you're wanting to lose weight, you're not cutting. You're just putting yourself in a position where you're eating good foods, you're more active than you are, you're burning more calories than you are taking in. And that ratio should be not very, by not very much. You know, I think that's where we come to the whole cut example or idea is that ratio is usually pretty deep. It's expending a lot of calories, not consuming a lot of calories. So it's very wide. But I think to answer the question, if you are doing a cut, I would say longest is probably, 3 weeks.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
You got to think 3 weeks, that ends up being like 21 days. And that's if you're doing it correctly, a cut being that ratio is pretty wide, you're depleting your body for 21 days. That's quite a long time. So you really shouldn't be doing it for that long. And what was the other, something about the baseline?
Yeah. How would someone find their baseline?
Baseline for,
I think baseline is like your maintenance calorie. Like I'm not gaining, I'm not losing, I'm just kind of staying healthy.
well, that's what's kind of difficult because your baseline can change all the time. You look at somebody who is, I don't know, say 21 years old and they are 165 pounds and they eat 2,000 calories and their weight doesn't fluctuate. Well, that's their baseline. But you find somebody that's the same age, but instead of 160 pounds, they're 260 pounds and they also eat 2,000 calories and they don't fluctuate in weight. That's their baseline. So like your body's going to adjust. It's what we talk about all the time. Your body's going to adjust and adapt. And that's kind of the problem that happens with people is whether they become super underweight or they become super overweight is, and it's not really super, it's even for just general population is you get to this point where maybe you're not eating a lot of calories, but you're still overweight. Well, now what do? I can't reduce more calories. Or say you're on the flip side of the coin and you're eating so many calories, but you can't put on a single pound. So it's like, well, we have to change something here. We have to do something. So baseline it's kind of, I don't know. It's so individual and it's in a way it's like non-existent because your baseline can change all the time. My baseline has changed immensely. There's parts where I'm eating 25 to 3,000 calories a day. And now there's other times where I'm eating 16, 1,700. And I'm at both of those points, I was not losing a pound, not gaining a pound. So there's so many variables to that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that also depends on your metabolic health or the health of your metabolism of, if you are low calories to begin with, like you said, there's nowhere to go to where if you can build your metabolism up to be able to handle a higher caloric intake and then you're not really adjusting maybe your output as much, your weight's going to stay the same or your baseline is going to change to where like for mine's say like I go even just like my weight, if I'm really working, just focusing on numbers to make it simple. Say I stay around between 125 pounds to 130 pounds. That's really where I stay. If I push it, I can get to 135, but that's like, I'm really trying to make it to 135. But other than that, I stick around that. I don't really hover any lower. I don't like it is, that's where I sit, like those 5 pounds. Where I notice my body changing is depending on what kind of foods I'm eating, how frequently I'm eating, and if just like the consistency of my workouts and my eating. When I am doing this wishy-washy, sometimes I'll eat breakfast every day, but then sometimes I get to a lunch and sometimes I don't, and then I'll eat a big dinner or whatever, and then the next day I'll eat all 3 meals and they're really big and whatever. That's when I notice the look of my body changing a little bit more dramatically, but still staying within the weight range to where my calories, it's kind of like my body is matching whatever calories I'm putting into it, not necessarily bigger because I'm putting in more food, but just it alters the state of my shape, I think, more to where if I'm just consistent, it doesn't really matter the number of how much I'm bringing in or the output that I'm doing. As long as it's steady, that's when I start to see like somewhat of a baseline of I don't really have to watch specifically what I eat or how much I work out or the volume of that. As long as I'm just doing it something consistently, that's really when I find my baseline, I guess I would say. But same thing, I would say 3 weeks, and that's going to be different for each person. There's no way I could do 3 weeks of a cut. I would have to go way shorter than that just because for my body, I lose weight very quickly. And I don't mean lose weight quickly. I can feel my body deteriorating a little bit quicker when I'm lower on calories. And 3 weeks, if I'm also working that into like a program or something, all like my strength does not hold on.
Yeah, you could be really losing, and that's the thing. That's the other thing too with the cuts is like, you know, you really want to pay attention to every aspect of what's going on. Like just because you set I'm gonna do it for 3 weeks, and you kind of feel 2 weeks in, like, wow, like my body's really hurting. I have no energy. You know, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you're getting ready for like a competition of some sort, then you kind of just have to maybe tough it out or maybe adjust a little bit or something. But if you're doing it just for fun, like that's something to analyze and look at is like, okay, 2 weeks is when I really feel like I have kind of met my limits with this. Because if you go much longer, you know, that's where injuries can start happening. That's where you know, you're drained for energy. You don't feel good. You don't want to show up. You're going to lose motivation. It's just a lot of negativity then that comes with that. So it's not even just about like looks wise. It's about how you feel. And if you just feel like dog shit, like just stop, get out of it. You know, that is also not healthy for you. Because if you feel like crap, that's telling you, hey, we need to do something else because I don't feel good. And then your body's definitely not going to change.
Yeah.
You know, think about when you're sick. You think you want to go to the gym and you work your butt off at the gym and try to get these last couple, you know, lines in your body or whatever. Like your body's really not going to want to let you do anything when you're sick. So it's kind of the same thing. Your body's deteriorating. It's slowing down. It's trying to give you signs that, hey, we need to do something. So just listen. Just listen to your body.
This kind of follows into the next question is basically, you know, if you are counting calories or you're really paying attention to the numbers, is it okay if they push the calories a little bit depending on the day if the foods that they're eating are like whole foods? Like an example they brought up of like making a smoothie. Is it okay if, you know, throwing an avocado in there, throwing the peanut butter in there, throwing, you know, maybe a little bit more denser of or bumping up your calories, can it be okay if the foods that you're choosing are good?
Oh yeah, I think so. And I think again the question is what foods are you saying are good? So really analyze that.
If you are, yeah.
You know, analyze what foods you're looking at or what you're talking about. But I mean, I tell you what, find me somebody who is overweight from eating whole natural foods. You're going to be hard pressed to find somebody. Like there's just so many natural stops in them. You know, it's just like whole foods are more satiating. So you just are not going to want to eat more. I mean, I was having like a salad the other day with Brussels sprouts and cabbage. It was not that big a salad and I was just done with it. It's so done with it. And it's like, it's because it's so filling. It takes so long to chew. It's like there's so many different things that whole foods just, they have these natural stops in them that you're not going to eat more than one apple probably. You're not going to go grab a second one when you're done, but you're going to go grab a second bag of chips when you're done with it. So I think that's something that I totally would not be worried about. I think the idea of like putting it into a smoothie, maybe watch out for that because that does make it easier to eat and digest and whatnot, to where you could maybe go rogue or go crazy with that by adding calories in the smoothie field. But if you're eating the whole food, you're going to have such a tough time like with that being an issue if you're doing that. So in general, I would say that no, I think that's fine. I think if you're adding a second portion of, veggies or something, like I wouldn't be worried about it at all.
I agree. Next question. What kind of processed foods do we specifically eat? And are there any that are kind of non-avoidable or non-negotiable for us?
Yeah, non-avoidable. I mean, basically, and it's all about definition, but every piece of meat that you eat or touch is processed. Every dairy product, eggs are like, again, it goes to the definition of things. If it's processed, like it's basically handled and put into a package type thing, that can be basically the bottom line of what is packaged versus what is not. So I think they probably want to know more like what bad things.
I think more like the typical version of processed.
Oh,
like I don't think
sure.
if you were like, what's a processed food? I don't think most people would go meat and eggs and.
Sure. Peanut butter's always on the list. I guess you could, if you count butter. I don't know if you count butter, which I have such a hard time finding a butter that I want. You go look at the back of butter, it's all natural flavorings, and it's this and it's that, and there's so much just random crap in it. But I don't know. I can't really think of anything. Peanut butter.
Well, and that's something before I get into mine is, I don't think any food is like unavoidable. It's a choice. You can, most people would
I
say
thought
like
they meant processed, like unavoidable, processed wise, I guess.
Sure, but I mean, you could still find a farmer and get milk from them. You could find a farmer and granted.
Sure, but you're not gonna go out and butcher the beef and.
No, I think I think what most
off.
people are talking about processed is not the whole cut meat that you get or the
right.
Which okay, and that's where I wanted to get into more of the specifics of if we are talking about something like dairy or meat. Say at the grocery store, we're not getting the stuff that is like pre-breaded, pre-seasoned, pre-touched. Like it's like literally just
true, yeah,
cut, whether they clean it or whatever, package. And you
Yep.
can see the meat, you can see the kind that it is, the gross looking meat. Same thing with, milk, I would love to get it directly from somebody. Eggs, I would love to get it directly from somebody, but we are just not in, like I said, everything can be avoidable. It's just up to your choice.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go through the extra work to find a farmer and to do all that. Granted, where we live, would that be probably really easy? Yeah, but
I think you're right though. It's like how much effort do you want to put into it?
Yeah.
We could probably go find a farmer, or we could probably go, meat wise, we could find something a little bit better than maybe going to the typical grocery store
Yes.
and that sort of thing.
Yes, and even just like with dairy stuff, like looking at the back of the milk. And no, we're not getting the almond milk that has sugar in it. We're not getting like we just got yogurt today. Getting the yogurt that just has unpasteurized milk and maybe salt, but not getting flavored ones, not getting anything that has any additives in it, and really looking at the ingredient list when we're shopping.
Yeah, basically in that terms, it's like we want as little amount of ingredients as possible and as whole natural as we can get. Like with the meat, we don't want to grab a piece of meat that now has a breading on it and a seasoning on it and all that type of stuff. It's like, if we want to do that, we can do that. And then we would end up choosing healthier options or try to find a way to do it in a healthier way if we wanted to. But we're grabbing the plain slab, whatever it is, no breading, nothing, and taking that.
Mm-hmm. As far as, I think maybe like my diet, I guess the only time that I really steer from this is say like when I'm traveling. Like right now I'm in a thick of a travel season for my job, and now there is a choice. I can easily go to a grocery store when I get there.
This isn't your job.
I can go to a grocery store and make or get my own food, and I don't have any way to cook it, but I could still get somewhat like raw things and eat it. But for my emotional and mental health, it's much easier for me to just, they pay for my food and we get dinners and like we just order from restaurants. It's easy for me to just order food. So that is where I maybe steer from knowing what all the ingredients are, knowing how they cook it. I choose the healthier options, but again, I don't know what oils they're cooking it in. I don't know what
Yeah.
ingredient like um
Yeah, we
what
get
word
it.
am I okay. But as far as at home, we don't hot sauce. That's
Yeah.
not even like non-negotiable or anything. I could easily go without it, but I'm just trying to think like in our daily, like what we get in a grocery noodles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like we really don't honey, like stuff like that, like peanut butter, honey.
Yeah, which honey we even try to find,
It's just
pure raw honey.
hot sauce. Otherwise, we really do not have anything like of the typical processed.
No, we don't have a lot. I think the things that would be most processed is the yogurt, the butter. Like you said, like we usually have some sort of hot sauce just because we like that. Peanut butter, noodles. Um, but other than that, I mean, yeah, we really try to stay as close to all natural foods. And this doesn't mean going and buying organic. Like we don't buy
No.
organic anything really. We just go and we find the things that are whole natural foods. If they have a package, we look on the back and we want to see almonds, raw almonds. That's all we want. We don't want the sea salt ones or this or that. Like we want the pure raw thing. And then we'll make a meal out of it. We'll decide what to do with it after that.
Yeah. Next question. What's your favorite pre-workout snack or meal?
I don't know. That one's kind of, I've never really gotten into that of a specific one for me or that sort of thing. I can give you like what, I mean, sciencey says, what
Well,
Mr.
just go. No,
Science
just go.
thinks.
Go what you think. I think a thing to point out for you specifically is you don't eat and then work out right away. You like to let it settle.
Yeah, I like to let it settle or give it some time. I think the arbitrary number is like an hour to 2 hours is how much time you need to wait until the food that you just ate is actually being, say turned into glucose so that you can use that as energy to work out. So for me, it's more so like I don't really like eating on an empty or working out on an empty stomach. It's not so much that I'm trying to use that for energy type of thing. So I'll eat and maybe wait 30 minutes to an hour and then work out just because I like the way that I feel more so with that. But I think as far as like what science would say is if you're going into a workout, you want some sort of carbohydrate and sugar and preferably a simple carbohydrate because that's going to be quicker to digest. So then you are using that glucose quicker than like if you were to do a complex carbohydrate like potatoes more so have those. I think brown rice more so has complex carbs. So going more simple carbohydrate and it doesn't have to be a big meal, something small. Like I think what always comes to mind as a good pre-workout is like oatmeal with some bananas. Simple sugars. You're going to get it, use it right away. It's typically somewhat lighter so that you're not like super full feeling going into working out. But then, yeah, using that and that will take you off.
I am the opposite. I like eating and then immediately working out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like I know my body isn't necessarily using that for energy, but I know for myself I like feeling full. And
Yeah,
I like I don't know. Me being hungry is like see you later. So if I start to get hungry within my workout, it's gonna just I'm gonna start to just be a problem. So I like knowing like I ate right before I went, so it's gonna last me a while. But yeah, same thing. Like carbs, any kind of carbs. Like I love doing rice bowls. I love doing a piece of bread. I like doing oatmeal. I don't necessarily like doing a dense. It depends on what kind of like type of day or time of day that I'm working out. My favorite time of day as far as how my body feels is like 2 p.m. I don't like that as far as what the day is because I like working out in the morning or I like working out at night just because my body, I don't know, I feel like it fits in my schedule a little bit more. But as far as like feeling fueled and energized, not tired yet, but not like calorie deficit in that zone. Like that's where I feel the prime is like 1 to 2 p.m.
Yeah.
If it's in the morning, I actually would probably prefer to have, like something quick or something, just like a little bit of oatmeal. But because my stomach and my system is so fresh, I probably would just like rock it out with whatever energy source I was getting, whether it was coffee or pre-workout, and just letting that
You'd
settle.
go no food?
And then I think I would kind of make sure that I'm just prioritizing a breakfast, like a big breakfast afterwards. Because I think if I'm already in the mindset of I'm going to work out early in the morning, I want to get to it.
Sure.
So maybe I would do some sort of, maybe a smoothie, or I would do, and that's where like the denser smoothies would come into place, where I would do, an avocado and do the peanut butter and all that. Or something simple like a piece of the sourdough or an apple.
I think
that's
for
filling
me,
but light.
I think for me, the light carbohydrate is what has seemed to always work best. I don't like meat. I don't like before. I know some people like that, like doing some sort of meat or some sort of protein, I guess probably more specifically beforehand. I've never really noticed much from that. I don't know why anybody would do like a big thing of veggies before. I wouldn't do that. I would do something light, carby, and just not too much of it. Something like oatmeal or something like rice with, maybe something in it. Rice with a little bit of egg, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Something of that sort. But light and carby is what I like.
Yeah. I'm mostly just focused on the drink.
You're more focused on the drink.
What drink am I having beforehand?
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of drinks.
Well, that's what I thought you were saying. You said pre-workout. And I was like, whoa. And then you said meal. I went,
no. Water intake. How much water do we drink? Some people say that, it's a certain amount of gallons. Some people say that it is, per ounce of body weight, or like kind of like pound per.
Yeah. I learned something a little while ago from a MMA nutritionist, that your body can really only absorb and utilize like a liter of water per hour. So if you're really drinking, or you trying to get more than that in, and it's per hour, so it's kind of specific to that, you end up just kind of flushing a lot of it out, and you're not really doing much with it. So these people that are like, drink a gallon every 2 hours or something crazy, you're just kind of putting unnecessary stress and unnecessary liquid into your body. So I guess on the side of too much, think about that. Only a liter per hour. I don't know if there's necessarily a number. I think that's what makes it easy for everybody is 1 gallon, do that, or do this per body weight. I think my advice with it is, I would say that 1 liter per hour thing. If you can do a liter per hour, that's pretty awesome. If you can't do that much, that's okay. That's a lot of water still. So maybe just kind of set that as a goal and try to do that. If it's too much, if you're just going to the bathroom too much or whatever, you can obviously reduce it and go a little bit less than that. But that will really, I think, push you to go towards water to begin with, which is a good thing. But then secondly, like, you're going to get all the benefits from it then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am pretty good about drinking water, so I don't have to like make it an effort. But I know some people that I work with, they have a really hard time with it. So I think tips, if you are trying to drink more water, is you could get like this water bottle, I think is a half gallon.
Yep.
So I just know for me, it's easy for me to get 3 of these in a day. Not really necessarily needing to think about it, but I just always have it by me and on me so that it's easy for me to just, water, I'm going to have a sip. And it's easy for me to get 3 of these in. So it's like 1.5 gallons. I would get something like this. Get something where it holds a bunch of water. You can take it throughout the day. So if you're running errands, you don't have to like, well, I already drank it and now I'm not going to be home for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
And just kind of keeping track of, okay, I need to drink this needs to be done by whatever time. You can set time frames in your day. You could, I know there's water bottles that even kind of like plan it out for you in the day. There are apps that you can get that send you reminders that are fun little activities that go along with the drinking water. One of my coworkers, he like labels the water so that he knows how many he's had. So there's many ways to do it. As long as you're prioritizing it, you can be creative with it. But for me, yeah, I'd probably say a gallon and a half is what I typically do. And that's just what is easy for me to do. That's not like I'm pushing and focusing on drinking the water. Just kind of drinking when.
Well, and I've noticed for me, like with those that we got, the half gallons, and we also just have some like regular ones laying around. I'll kind of go in phases of like, sometimes the half gallon it really makes me push towards it, but then sometimes it's like I don't even really think about it. So maybe just experiment with yourself too. Like, do you do better with like what you have of that big of one, or do you do better of like, I have a smaller glass and I need to make sure I get 8 of these in throughout the day, or 12 of these in. So I don't know. I would just say experiment to get more water. I would say a general, most people probably could or should drink more water than they do. So I think starting there, but you can look it up and you can find a whole bunch of different things and a whole bunch of, I mean, I've seen articles or some things of people saying that we don't need to really be drinking water at all. And I'm not really in that boat. So you can really find any information about water. So I don't know. There's a healthy balance, and I think you can find that. I would just say 1 liter per hour. That is what I've heard and I've learned. You don't need much more than that. So you can go a little bit less than that and you'll probably be good.
Next question. How often do we treat ourselves? Do we make things like cookies or treats at home? And do we kind of do whatever we want when we are, say, like in a maintenance? Which, going back to this bulk and cut kind of again too.
Well, and that's what's kind of funny is like I'm generally always in a maintenance now, in a sense. Like I'm so committed to just slowly getting to where I want to go and where I want to be, because it's like the whole baseline thing that we were talking about before. I'm in this part of my fitness life that I want to get bigger again, but I'm going to do it differently than I did before. I'm not going to try to rush to get there. I'm going to do it so that I look really dense and I'm healthy doing it. And I work my way up to having a baseline where I'm eating a really good amount of calories and a healthy amount of calories, and I'm still able to put on muscle. I'm still able to put on size. So yeah, with the maintenance part of that, like I'm never not taking this seriously. I guess what I'm trying to say. Like I'm always taking this seriously. That's what this whole thing is about. Health is, you're always committed to it, and you just have to, I don't know, surrender to it, I guess. Like it's easy for me because I enjoy it and I like it. I like talking about it. I like working out. I like all that stuff, but yeah, it is very much a part of my life. So do I treat myself? Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I would say frequently, but
what does frequently look like to you? The only thing I can really think of is like we get Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, we'll go get a thing of ice cream every now and again, but
like once a month?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably around there, but that's not the only thing, And I think I'll treat myself like when I go back home for Christmas, there's obviously so much out and around to be able to snack on and treat on. So, I usually go all in on that, but I don't know. Like,
I think my treat is like a drink at the end of the night.
Well, like and that's kind of the other thing too, is like everybody's got their own treat necessarily. To me,
sure.
my treat is a piece of sourdough bread with peanut butter and honey on it.
Where you put the honey on it?
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. I think I'm going to mix this question kind of into one larger one. I think treating yourself can be good. I think it's a part of life, is enjoying the yummy foods and the yummy drinks and kind of getting to experience those things and, you know, go to the movies and you get the popcorn, or yeah, you are having a movie night and we're watching a lot, all related to movies. I just realized that I was saying that.
That's all we do. We do this podcast.
Yeah.
We watch movies. That's our life.
You know, like having the ice cream and enjoying that guilt free, or going out to eat and going to Buffalo Wild Wings and knowing nothing on this menu is healthy, but I'm going to get it anyways. That just doing it with an understanding of this isn't good for me, but that's okay. This is good for me because I'm getting the emotional aspect of it. I'm getting the, you know, the fun or the fulfillment of this food, not so much maybe the nutritious value of it, or it's not necessarily on my track of what I'm working with health-wise, but like we say, mental, emotional, and physical, you have to have all of them balanced, or as close as you can. That for me, like, I know when I eat a freaking platter of sushi, oh my gosh, does my happiness, it soars. Is it the best thing for me? No, maybe not, but I know that that's important to me. That's something that I want to keep in my life just as much. I want to feel good and look good, but I don't think it has to be this binge nothing, or it needs to be this like, well, I'm going to go into this screw it mode and that's when I'm going to do it. Or just like lie to yourself of like, well, no, this is healthier. This is okay. I only do it every once in a while. And then you kind of tally up all those things that you do every once in a while. And then you're realizing you're doing something every day or once a week or something.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where, for me with this question, is that I don't do, like, I'm very committed to eating healthy and I enjoy that and I do that. So it's not even necessarily a treat to me, these things. Like, the treat for me is being healthy and not having to worry about when we go to the movies and getting popcorn and feeling guilty and stuff. Like, I'm not even thinking of that as a treat, or I'm not thinking we go to a restaurant and we, you know, get I don't know, we go to a Mexican restaurant and we get burritos and they're just so large.
Margaritas and we do a full thing of chips.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think about that as being a treat, because like, I know that this isn't going to affect me really in many ways, because as the next week, 2 weeks, month, you know, however long, like, I'm going to be eating well and consistent and whatever. So it's really not even a part of my, really not even my mind when I'm going and, you know, grabbing another Kit Kat at your grandma's, or I'm going and, you know, having a fun drink at night or whatever. Like, it's just not in my awareness, because like I'm eating healthy all the time. So these don't seem like treats to me. They just seem like, yeah, we'll just do this, whatever, and then I'll be back on track.
And that's where being consistent with your eating habits, being consistent with your exercise, and it gives you a lot of free bandwidth.
Oh, it gives you so much more freedom.
You know, like say I go on these weekends, we have a full trunk of cookies and candy and a bunch of chips that I don't think twice about. Yeah, I'll grab something. I'll grab a bag of pretzels. I'll grab, you know, the cookies or whatever, because I know, like you said, I put myself in such a good position every other day of the week that I don't have to like feel guilty about that, because I know I'm setting myself up for success in the other ways more.
Yeah, when you're
just figuring out like, are you having more treats than you are eating healthy?
Right.
That's where I think the amount should come into play, is just really focusing more on the good rather than the bad.
Yeah, because when your diet or your eating is 90% healthy all the time, you don't even think about the 10% that you go to Taco Bell late at night, or you know, you grab the bag of cookies at work or whatever. Like, it gives you being disciplined gives you so much more freedom than you realize, because I don't even think twice about treats. That's not even on my mind. Most of the time I'm thinking about the money of it. I don't give a shit if it's healthy or not. I'm thinking like, oh, do I really want to spend, you know, $10 at Taco Bell? It's like,
You're right.
I got food at home.
Right.
I already bought. Like,
yeah.
You know, so I think the treat thing is a interesting one, because we're always looking for that. When can I, you know, have a fuck it day? When can I,
Cheat day, cheat
when
meal.
when can I have a cheat day, or when can I have my treats or whatever, to where it's like, if you can, and it's so cheesy, but it's like the treat is being healthy and not, not being in a situation you don't want to be in, kind of thing. Like the treat's not the little bad thing you get,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
How is that a treat? It's not good for you.
Right.
That's not a treat.
Right. It's, yeah. Yeah. Next one. For someone who is trying to lose weight and be healthy, should they consistently be in a cut or should they cycle? I'm going to start this one.
Yeah.
I don't feel you should even be in a cut. Like we said, the cut bulk thing is kind of a gray area, but it depends on what your activity level is. If you are consistently working out and consistently, as in like, you are sticking with your schedule on a weekly basis. You are not, well, I'm going to go in some days and then I don't go in some days. If you are consistent with maybe your lifting program, especially if you're on a lifting program, I would not be cutting the calories. I would be slowly adding them, or at least keeping track of what you are eating right now so that you have more wiggle room down the road. That if you just keep cutting your calories, you're going to teach and train your body. This is how low of a caloric intake I need to have to maintain this lower body weight. So I would see it as you're training your metabolism to do something different, which is eating food and eating healthy food, matching your activity level with that, so that you're training your body to go, oh, I can eat more and still lose weight. I can eat more and still maintain this newer physique and the lower, maybe the weight, and not set yourself up worse for later.
Yeah. I think, and I think maybe, I kind of went in on the whole cut bulk thing. I think a lot of people don't, I think I have a different definition than what most people have of cut and bulk.
Yes, you do.
Partially,
Yeah.
So I think there's some disconnect with me and people there, to where I guess I would say, let's stop using cut and bulk as terms unless you're a professional bodybuilder, because it's going to, again, you start looking at information that's cut and bulk, you're going to get things that maybe you shouldn't be doing, to where, just like we were talking about the baselines and stuff before, it's kind of what do you want your life to be? Do you want to only be able to eat 600 calories to maintain, this weight? Or do you want to be able to eat 15, 16, 1700 calories and be able to maintain this weight, or even lose the weight, So I think the objective should be, let me eat how I can eat or should eat, as far as you're eating whole foods and you're eating 15, 1600 calories or maybe 2000 calories. But now what we need to look at then is, if you're trying to lose weight, how many calories are you burning? So you need to be burning more than you're consuming. So if you want to eat 15, 16, 1700 calories, you need to be burning 18, 19, 2000 calories, something like that. You want it to be close to each other. You don't want these extreme wide gaps. That's where burnout happens. Whether it's you're eating way too less and you're burning a crazy amount of calories, or you're eating so many calories, but then you're going even harder just to burn that many calories off. You're going to burn out at some point. We want a nice, consistent thing that you can do for the next 20 years and you're not going to burn out from. So it's keeping those ratios right next to each other. But if your goal is to lose weight, then you need to be burning more calories than you are consuming. And it's just the opposite. Like for someone like me that's trying to put on weight, I need to be eating a little bit more calories than I am burning. That way I continue to put on more and more weight. And then that's when you start talking about the baseline part of it is, well, now your baseline's at, 1600 calories and you get to your goal weight. So now you can either ease up on the exercising, or you can add a little bit more calories and balance that out. But it's a little bit. It's not, I was eating 600 calories and now like I can't not work out for 3 hours a day. Or on the opposite end, I'm eating 3,000 calories and I can't put on a single ounce of weight because like I can't eat anymore. So you need to keep those ratios close to each other, but you want it to be healthy and sustainable. And you want to be able to, when you get to your goal weight, you already have your baseline set. That's what happens for a lot of these people that lose weight when they do this crazy calorie deficit thing, is you end up gaining it all back because your body never adjusted and made that your baseline. It never made it, this is what we eat and how much we burn type of thing. It was, well, I did this crazy thing for 30 days at 600 calories and it was a liquid diet or whatever, and I lost 10 pounds or 15 pounds and now I'm at my goal weight. Well, now you start going back into normal life and you're eating 12, 13, 1400 calories. You just gain all that weight back because you never created a new baseline.
Yeah, and I think so that's just my general advice would be pay attention to how much you're intaking, and that doesn't mean necessarily counting calories. That could just be how many times in a day you eat, or how big your meals are, or how many items you have on your plate. That if you are low and you think you're eating low, and then that's where maybe the numbers can help you kind of gauge, then I would just focus on upping the calories with whole foods. Mm-hmm. If you are the person that eats a lot, but you feel like I don't want to really have to decrease, and you are consistently with your program, then I would just try to adjust your types of food. Keep the same numbers, keep the same, ballpark of what you're intaking, but just switch what kinds of food you're eating to get those calories. And if you are in a cut and you are actually doing that from what we're talking about, the cycling aspect of it, yes, I would cycle. I would, just like we said, like if you're in a cut, doing it for 2 to 3 weeks, and once or twice a week, I would add in a bump it up day and bump your calories up, just that you're giving your body kind of that switch and that break in the system. Next question. How do you feel about intuitive eating?
I think this kind of goes into the last question a little bit, is I feel like you somewhat, if you sit and analyze, I feel like you somewhat know, am I eating enough? Am I eating too much? Am I exercising enough, or am I not exercising enough? Or just activity, I think is a better word. Am I active enough? Am I, at a desk for my job all day, every day? Or am I a construction worker and I'm out doing stuff all day long? I think we generally know. We just have to kind of sit and really be honest with ourselves. And I think that's comes kind of the same with the intuitive eating, is like, we just don't sit and think about it enough. We don't really analyze it enough. So I like it. I like it in the sense that like you're really learning about your body and what your body is doing. I think you should know that, but I also think there's a certain level of like, you need to take some baby steps. Some people, you want to jump right to expert level of doing this type of, I don't know what you would call it, diet or whatever, when it's like you're not really sure what foods you should be eating yet. So I think it's a proceed with caution thing. Make sure you really are dialed in and I should be eating this, I shouldn't be eating that. If you can answer those, 10 out of 10, then I think, yeah, it can be a really helpful tool.
I think the intuitive eating is kind of my bulk and cut thing. Like, I feel like in the industry, or with regular people meaning like people that this isn't their job, mm-hmm. is it's either I count calories or I intuitive eat. It's either one or the other, to where there's so much in between that of, it doesn't need to just be counting calories. It's about what kind of calories are there. And I think that's something that we're trying to promote a little bit more recently, is the numbers only say so much. It's about the ingredients that they put in there. It's the type of food that you're eating. It doesn't matter if the calorie count stays the same. An apple is clearly better than cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the numbers can match up, but it's
Yeah.
like, what kind of sugar is that versus that sugar? What kind of carbs is that versus that carbs? So I think it's really simplifying it. You don't need to count all your calories, and you don't need to just be this like free, I know what is going on with my body, because both of those are hard. Both of those are not easy to maintain. Both of those could possibly be too dialed in for what most people even need. And then you're going to see food as a scary thing or a hard thing or a stressful thing rather than something that can benefit you and be simple. We have to do it every single day and multiple times a day. Might as well make it as easy as possible. Mm-hmm. That if you're kind of debating one or the other, I would say just simplify it and take all of your meals or whatever you're going to eat and just look into what it is. Am I eating the thing out of the wrapper, or am I eating the processed thing? Am I eating the thing that has the low calorie thing on the front? Or am I eating something that is a whole food that didn't come in this weird packaging or pre-made thing or pre-made meals or whatever? Like figuring out more of the basics first. Mm-hmm. Then if you're like, no, I got that down. Now I'm getting into the kind of the 2% of, well, I'm realizing for me, maybe avocados are a little bit too fatty for what I'm needing right now, or a little bit too high in carbs for what I'm specifically going for. But most people, you just got to simplify.
Yeah.
Simplify it.
I think overall it's a good thing. I think it's just people maybe don't know how to do it or aren't really ready to do that quite yet. So I think, yeah, both of the things we said, analyze and make sure you're ready to do that or try that, and then try it and see. And yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, next one. If they're trying to lose weight, can they have an example of a meal of like a pizza with like a side of veggies? It's like something not healthy, but with something healthy. Like, is there a benefit to that? Is that kind of like if you're focusing on losing weight, is that a smart choice, or is that kind of like you're not really going anywhere? Like just that mindset of that meal.
I don't know. It's tough. That's only one meal. Mm-hmm. There's so many other meals and days and weeks and months wrapped up into all of that. If we're going with that's the only meal you're eating, I would say no. That's not good enough. But if that's your one thing for the entire month, then I think you're fine. Or yeah.
I think the method of like the canceling out doesn't so much work.
It 100% doesn't work.
So I wouldn't look at it in that respect of like, oh, I had, kind of going back to the first question of like, oh, I had my protein pancakes, but I smothered them in regular maple syrup. Or I had a salad, but I put dressing on it. Or this, like I had pizza, but then I had a veggie with it. Well, it depends on what
dressing.
Dressing, sorry.
Be more specific.
Dressing as in like ranch or French dressing. Like something that is not just like olive oil and seasoning.
Yeah. I think... to me, a good general rule of thumb is everything you eat, try to find what this is benefiting you, or maybe more so on the opposite end, try to find what's negatively impacting you. If what you're putting in your body, is negatively impacting you, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Now that can be good advice for some people, can be bad advice for others, because like you could probably find a negative in everything, or you could probably find a positive in everything. Like, oh, well, this pizza's got, bell peppers on it. So that's good for me. That's fine. But I think if you're trying to be healthy just in general, if you can find something, or if there's something screaming at you that, hey, this isn't really, you shouldn't be eating this, then you probably shouldn't be eating it. Piece of pizza, it's like, hypothetically, nobody should be eating a piece of pizza. It's not good for you. With a side of veggies, I like what you're saying of like, you can't do the cancel out game. You know, you can't do the like, well, I had this, but I had an apple too. It's like your body doesn't know. Your body doesn't care. You know, it doesn't. It's not like oh, pizza is coming down the gullet. Oh wait, an apple. We're good. Don't worry,
Yeah.
guys. It's like it's not doing that.
Like a salad with a side of fries.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things like to break it down to just one meal. You can't really say if it's okay or not because what is your whole month looked like?
The only way that I say that this method or idea can make sense is if you are working out of eating this way, this could be a helpful tool to get you on a more sustainable track of like, okay, if I'm going to eat pizza, at least I'm going to get filled up with half veggies, not just more pizza. So it's like kind of like choosing, it's like the whole water idea. It's like, well, if I have more water and I don't feel thirsty, then I might not go for the juice or I might not go for the soda. So same thing, you might get filled up on the good stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
You might get filled up on the good stuff, so then you won't feel like you need to overindulge on the bad stuff.
Yeah. I think all of this stuff it's the old saying, in moderation. Like, we have pizza, we have ice cream, I have chocolate. Like, we do all of these things, but it's in moderation. It doesn't come around very often. We have it when we want to have a night to not have to cook something maybe, or things are running late for the day and it would just be easier to do that or whatever.
Or you just want to enjoy pizza.
But it doesn't come around very often. So I don't know. I think the idea of how can I save all of the things that I like to eat and keep it in my diet, I think abandon that and just go to like what's going to make me healthy. Because I feel like if you get into that mindset and you're doing that for a long time, you won't even notice all the stuff that you feel like you're going to miss right now. I think that's what people get caught up in is, well, I'm just going to miss my pizza, or I'm going to miss my ice cream. I'm going to miss this. I'm going to miss that. When you do it consistently and long enough, like, you don't really miss it. It's what your dad said about carbs. Doesn't even notice it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just got to do it for long enough and you won't really even notice it.
Can't go an episode, can we?
I had to. I had to put him in there somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Last question. I think this kind of will wrap up everything. What should a goal for each meal be?
My first thing is always balance. Like, I'm always looking for balance. So, I'm not wanting to load up on the same items just over and over again. It's not like I want like my whole plate to be meat and then nothing else, or my whole plate to be veggies. There's so many different vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that you get from everything, or so many different things, that balance and variety is what I would go for as much as possible.
That was going to be my thing too. Balance, like looking at your plate or bowl or whatever you're making, and kind of, for me, like my markers are like having a protein source, having a veggie, and having a carb or a fat source. That if I'm getting that every meal, and then even every meal, it's maybe a different version of that. Like, I'm not having the same veggie every single meal, or I'm not having the same kind of protein every single meal. So I'm getting a variety even throughout my day. And then, yeah, if I'm going to get real picky with it, I don't know. I think of like what kinds of meats or veggies that I'm getting. My carbs pretty much stay the same. It's like rice or potato, or mostly rice. But like if I got like a green vegetable for breakfast, maybe for lunch I would do like a bell pepper. And then for dinner I would maybe do something different, like a beet or whatever. That's not always super consistent. And like onion and garlic, I swear I have it in like every single meal. So there are some things that I always have in there. And then also how I'm cooking it just kind of keeping in mind of how I'm continually, if I'm cooking the same thing, am I always cooking it in olive oil or always cooking it in butter, or changing that up, just to give myself, not that anything is bad or better, but just giving myself different variety. So I say variety and balance.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, I would almost, for me, it's like switching the veggies out for the fruit in a way. Like
And consistency.
I love fruit. I mean, that's the thing for me is like protein, fruit, and then some sort of carb usually. I mean, I'm obviously having veggies, but yeah, I would just say try to put on your plate or in your bowl as many different things as you can. That kind of makes sense, you know. You're not going to put a piece of meat in with your oatmeal, but just as many different things as you can get in there, because there's so many benefits to all of these whole foods that you want to soak up as much as you can. And plus, I think the variety is going to keep you more interested than like, oh, I gotta have my salad with ranch on it
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yep.
Your dad.
Yeah.
You could throw some other things in the mix.
Variety. Not only for your health, but to get the, like you said, like all the different benefits from food. Food is so amazing. That's like
Yep.
as many different elements that the food can bring me. That's as many elements I want in my day of eating. But also just, I don't get bored of what I mean. Like I like looking at my meal and going like, ooh, I can't wait to eat this. And like, that's
Yeah.
going to be fun. That's going to be cool. Rather than like, oh, this is the same meal that I had yesterday and
Yep.
yesterday and yesterday.
Because that's what, if you're really in the process or you're really trying to start to eat healthy now or maybe again or whatever, I think that's what can kind of kick people out of it is just the boredom and the repetitiveness of the same things over and over and over again. That'll kind of, that would make me not want to eat a period.
Yeah.
If I had to eat chips every single day, every meal or whatever, I would get bored of that and not want to do
That was
that.
like us, like chicken and veggies. We ate that for like a
Yep.
year and a half.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would say just balance, variety, take the time with it and be intentional. But yeah, food is your friend. Food is fun.
And I think the variety is, that kind of goes into the intuitive eating part too, is the more that you experiment or the more things that you try and you have, you'll kind of learn too what your body responds well to, maybe what it doesn't respond well to. And that's cool and that's beneficial.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that it?
Food 2.0. Yeah.
Cool. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook page, The Hub Fitness. Our Instagram at @thehub_fitness. And
See you later.
see you later.
You had to finish it.